I have a PS4 on firmware 9.0, and although a lot of the mods for this console are USB based, I wanted to make my own internal mod chip. Also, if you want to know details about the giveaway, stay tuned. To give some quick context, this is an ESP32, and it has the mods for the PS4 on it. I think it hosts its own server, I'm not really sure, but let's go ahead and solder it in. Okay, so here's the mod chip we're installing. This is an ESP32, and you can see it here. Let's go ahead and take the plastics off. So I'm not super familiar with how it actually works, but I know that it does run the USB exploit. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to remove this USB port, run some wires from here to the board, and then we'll have the internal mod chip. First, we got to add the flux. Now, if you're not familiar with flux, flux helps the solder from oxidizing in the oxygen, and it will help with the flow better. First, let's try some solder wick and see if we can wick out these holes pretty easily. It's proving to not work super well, huh? So maybe we will use the desoldering gun. Since I can't have the microscope directly under the port, I kind of have to go off to the side, move the microscope out the way. Okay, so the desoldering gun proved to mostly get all the solder out, but what I'm going to try to do is finish off the job by moving these anchors out and probably trying to desolder them that way. We'll get to it. All right, let's flip the board over. Let's add some flux to this side. Now, if we're lucky, I probably could just run some solder over here, and then maybe we can pick the port just straight up and out. Let's give it a try. Let's flow some solder up here, and on this side, that might be working. We're slowly lifting up while trying to heat all of the thing. Yep, that's working. All right, I think we got it. There we go. We did it, everybody. Now I want to kind of suck all the solder out of these holes. Oh, now it proves to be perfect. All right. There we go. Now, the only thing I was thinking about is this button is used for programming. I think it'll be a limiter in the size where we can put this chip, but I don't know. Maybe we can just put the board in and then just try it. Let's clean up the board with some isopropyl alcohol. Board looks good, and we can put it in the PS4 somewhere. So the thing is with this PS4 is it actually has a metal plate that goes over the board, and so we're gonna have to either fit this. I was thinking probably on top of the plate, just because I don't think it'll fit under, at least properly. Let's find a place and see if we can get this soldered in. All right, so here are our USB ports on the PS4. Here is the first one that's closest to the disk drive, and here is this one. What I would like to do is solder it into this one, but I'm not sure if it's going to matter which port we solder it into, so I'm thinking we should probably go with port number 1, and then if anybody wants to plug in a like an external drive, they can plug it into this port, and then this one is reserved for our USB mod chip. Now, as far as soldering up this chip goes, we're looking at ground here. Looks like ground goes here, data plus, data minus, or whichever ones they go to, because I'm not 100% sure which one's plus minus. I'd have to look at a USB pinout. And then this is 5 volts, which will likely go here. So what I'm going to do first is I'm actually going to tin up these 4 posts here, and then we're going to run some enamel jumper wires. The jumper wire is very, very thin. This jumper wire has an enamel on it that basically prevents it from shorting out on anything. Let's add some flux. We're going to use our giant knife blade tip for this. Flow some solder into these joints here, just enough to where they're tinned, and we can just slide that enameled wire right into it. All right, first let's burn off of some of the enamel, and then we're going to solder it to our 5 volts. Then our data plus or data minus, I honestly don't know which one that is. Now we got our next one. And last but not least, this is our ground wire. Now we grab some PCB cleaner, and we're going to clean off all the excess flux. All right, and now we're good to go. Let's go ahead and put our shield on and solder this thing in. Okay, so I decided I was going to mount the chip here because it is right next to this hole that the little plastic shield kind of pokes through, and so hopefully this chip won't get in the way of that. Now, I did leave the wires a little long, and I'm going to poke them up through this LED section, but what I'm going to do to make this easy on myself is I'm actually going to move the metal shield down before I fully install it, so we can leave these wires a little bit longer and then just solder them all right up to the USB connections. Now let's add some flux to this chip here because I want to flow these as good as possible. It'll make the wires seat better and the solder joints just be a lot better. So let's go ahead and tin up all of these pads first. All right, perfect. All right, so I'm going to start off with the 5 volt connection here. Hopefully this will give the wire enough slack. All right, here is one of our USB lines. Our second USB data line. And last but not least, our ground connection. Beautiful. Now let's do a slight test fit here. Ha ha ha. Looks like we had enough slack, and our lines are good. And remember, these have an enamel on them, so they're not going to short out on anything. I was really worried about the chassis and the plastic not fully seating down, so I did remove this button. So hopefully it will work out just fine. Okay, so I went ahead and turned on the PS4, just a quick test. The USB does light up, so that means we did 5 volts and ground, correct? Now, let's see if the exploit works. I didn't realize my mic wasn't connected. Let's hit gold hen, loading gold hen. Can't talk. Please wait. Okay, it did something. My controller is drifting. It's just a test controller. USB file device system is unsupported. It's doing something. It's doing something. Oh, it worked! Yes, dude! Oh my gosh, it's working. Yes, our mod chip works. Our internal mod chip works. Dude, I'm so excited. That's awesome. I've had this idea for like a year and a half. I've been wanting to do this forever, man. Okay, now to make sure that it does work, let's go ahead and load up items flow. I don't have any games on this console. It's completely, basically bone stock besides the homebrew that I have already installed. And it's working. Amazing. This is basically like Multimeter for the PS4, and it works. This is awesome. Okay, here we go. Is it gonna close? And it closes perfectly. This is amazing. We have a fully internal modded PS4. So the giveaway in question is for this PS4. The details for this giveaway are as follows. Number 1, you have to like this video. 2, you need to subscribe. And 3, you need to leave a comment on why you would love to have a mod chipped PS4. When this video goes live, the giveaway will end in 1 week.